Well, Russia's President Putin has echoed China in rejecting U.S. calls for new sanctions against North Korea after its latest nuclear test. Now, South Korea is pushing for a military overhaul, and the U.S. is weighing a number of military, economic, and diplomatic options. Now, on Tuesday, North Korea's ambassador to the UN in Geneva held the U.S. directly responsible for its current crisis. Here's what he said.
The U.S. imposed nuclear threats and blackmail for more than half a century against my country, DPRK, with the ceaseless political and military pressure and economic sanctions.
Joining us now is Douglas Powell, Carnegie Endowment for International Peace and VP for Studies. He was also in the National Security Council staffs of Presidents Reagan and George H.W. Bush. Douglas, thank you so much for joining us. Just hearing those comments from the North Korea ambassador directly targeting the U.S. on their latest, as they call, self-defense measures. What do you make of this right now? It seems like reconciliation is not going anywhere. Economic sanctions aren't particularly having an effect either. Military options, we're exploring that right now, but what will essentially work?
Well, all of the above and none of the above. There's really a long way to go over the next few years for North Korea to develop the capabilities it's trying to develop. I mean, this is a guessing game, but it looks as if when we get to the point where they think they have a reliable intercontinental ballistic missile with a warhead that can threaten the United States, they might be willing to open talks and try to persuade the U.S. to dismantle the alliances with Korea and Japan, withdraw troops from the Korean Peninsula, and make life easier for North Korea. They may also want some economic inducements. But that's not going to unfold for us until they believe they've got the loaded pistol at the bargaining table pointed at the American representatives.
Yeah, we heard from Russia President Vladimir Putin, which was a very interesting comment on whether to put tougher sanctions on Pyongyang or not. He said they will eat grass, but they won't abandon their program unless they feel secure. Does Putin have a point here? The oil sanctions, food sanctions is not going to do much to really rein in their nuclear ambitions at all?
There's some truth to that, but it's mostly a talking point. You know, they've made tremendous strides in North Korean missile launching capability just recently. Russia has a lot of unemployed rocket scientists. The likelihood is that Russians have been helping, not with official assistance, but Russians on their own as former rocket scientists have been helping North Korea develop these new capabilities. And I'm sure Putin wants us to talk about something else besides that.
Does it come down to acknowledging North Korea as a nuclear power?
Well, that's what the North Koreans want. They want to be acknowledged, much as India and Pakistan have now been informally acknowledged, or Israel, or as more formal countries have been, to say that it's their right to have nuclear capabilities. They, in their own internal dialogue, talk about not going the way of Muammar Gaddafi, who turned over his nuclear and chemical and biological weapons secrets to the U.S. and then ended up in a ditch in 2011. They don't want to go that route. They want to be able to point to a weapons system that will protect their regime, keep their family rule in place as long as possible. And the surest way they think they can do it is by having an irreducible nuclear capability that will keep the United States deterred from taking drastic action against North Korea.